Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. Yes, I said shitty. Over here we have adult conversations. Over here, most of these conversations are not appropriate for kids. I smoke like a chimney, swear like a sailor, and I will definitely be needing a cigarette for this one. This is my response to Piers Morgan's take on what happened in the White House infamously with regards to South Africa. Here's what stands out for me as a South African woman. First and foremost, it probably stands out to you. The entire panel looking like, well, a rather pale, forgive me, but male member having boys club over there, and one woman. Need I point out the race? The one thing that was very surprising to me is, why was this gentleman over here, the father of the murderer, Oscar Pistorius? What did he have to do with this discussion? You know who wasn't there? Riva Steenkamp, the South African female model that his son murdered. Not one Steenkamp family member was there or asked about their opinion, considering somehow they're relevant, right? A touching moment was when all these people, even Mr. Lying Liar over here, one of the most talented grifters in South Africa, then admitted point blank, after years of saying quite the opposite, there is no genocide in South Africa. He said it, the champion of the white genocide myth. But the one thing that I would like highlighted by Dan Corder over here is what he said. What he said. The question of race laws in South Africa.
The big moment, which was when Ernst Ritz got asked, what about these race laws? And listen, everyone was playing the game and I played the game. The second Ernst started talking about it, I started grinning because I was making sure Piers would come to me next. Because Eric, you know more than maybe anyone except my brother James, that I have been waiting to clap this nonsense grift for so long. We've done it on the TV show. We've done it on the podcast. We've done it over coffee. And it was just, I was like, oh my word, here we go. Here we go, Dan. Here we go. He's right here. Here we go. I'm going to let him finish. And then, and I just kept signaling. And Piers finally said, Dan, you're mocking or you're laughing or whatever. What do you think? And it was just, I've been wanting to make that argument about this race law grift. If you believe it, then you've also got to believe it's sexist and anti-able-bodied people for such a long time. And Piers could tell, and he just let me do it. And it was really delicious.
Right, Dan Corder, you're mocking what you've just been hearing. Why?
Well, it's just fun to be in the front row of the audience for the circus, Piers, to hear this level of hilarious lying and grifting. So he doesn't name you a single race law that genuinely has anything wrong with it. Then he says the problem is implementation. And then he leaps to, oh no, forget that I was talking about laws. The education system is broken. Doesn't show you which law that has racial redress parts of it could have caused that to happen. Piers, let me clear up these actual laws, because what they tried to do was have a deluge of hundreds of laws and hope that nobody would read them. But I went through their list. I actually covered 25 of the 142 laws on my TV show a few weeks ago. Here's what the laws are actually. They're equity and transformation laws to create meaningful fairness. And here's what actually the vast majority of the laws say. They say there needs to be meaningful representation in South Africa to reflect our country fairly on three things, not just one: race, gender, and disability. But these grifters will say that they are race laws. But if you want to follow their argument to its conclusion, why aren't they calling them sexist laws, Piers? There's representation for women right next to race, and why aren't they saying that able-bodied people are completely disadvantaged? Disability is right next to race and sex. This is
they're not even race laws. Elon Musk is lying.
They are being sincere with what they are arguing. They call them sexist laws too, that are very mean to men, and ability laws. Call it a race law, when actually, if they are being sincere with what they are arguing, they call them sexist laws too, that are very mean to men, and ability laws too.
So you're not denying that it's race laws. You're just saying that it's more than that.
Settle down, brother. I'm actually going to talk about what these laws actually...
Ernst, actually shut up. I'm going to speak as a South African. What is sexist about this? Not only have you given a platform here, Piers Morgan, who has been alphaed by Donald Trump and now sucks up to him every chance you get. Okay. It's not lost upon me the respect that you show, Dan, which I haven't seen you show to people of certain races and certain sexes consistently after watching you. Please note that I do not follow that man. Even though I agree with a lot of what Piers Morgan says, the way that he is so rude, he has had me even sympathizing with people that I despise. Okay? But here's what's sexist. What's being highlighted in the White House in that moment was Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma for a fake victimization because they sang a song, which I have also denounced and said they should not do, okay, on this channel. However, there was someone they victimized. That video has, 6 likes. There was someone who, as somebody living in a democratic South Africa, had to go and basically functionally live in exile. And I will never forget her.
Fezekile passed on yesterday, sadly. And, she was ill for a short while. It's a difficult time, particularly for the mother, who herself is not in great health.
Like Donald Trump, I do remember the moment where, like Donald Trump, there was a sex offender who became president. And they were president at the same time. Okay? This man got away with rape. Hashtag remember Kwezi. Remember Kwezi. And remember her as a symbol of the women of this country who are the real victims of everyday crime in South Africa. Remember her as a symbol of the black women in this country. Because I've heard Uncle Toms all over the US claiming that it's a good thing they brought white people to America because they will assimilate. Let me tell you about assimilation. The average black woman who works as a domestic worker in this house on Monday will go and work for Yaniv. She will have to learn how to cook kosher food. She'll have to learn how not to bring pork into Yaniv's house. She'll have to learn how not to mix the two kitchens, the Jewish dairy kitchen and the Jewish meat kitchen, right? She has to understand that in terms of assimilation. Tuesday, she has to go and work at Ibrahim's house. Remember that just like Yaniv's house, she mustn't bring pork. Wednesday, she has to go work at Mariki's house. Now, she can bring pork for lunch if she wants to, but they are Protestants, and she has to remember how to communicate with them. She's got to speak some basic Afrikaans to their kids. She may also have been expected on Monday to speak some basic Hebrew and on Tuesday to speak some basic Arabic, depending on the cultural and linguistic nature of that family. Thursday, she's working for an English Catholic family. Or perhaps an Italian Catholic family. Perhaps the child there is bilingual and speaks Italian. Perhaps she has to know that too. Friday, she may be working for a black or colored family, following different culture laws. And she manages to assimilate, while her children get to get education that she was never allowed to get. Her husband may be Zulu while she's Sotho, by way of example, but her children are being taught in English, and that's who she has to help with homework. That is a giant at assimilation, and that is not the exception, that's the rule for the average black woman in South Africa. So they are the kings of assimilation. They are the people truly victimized in South Africa. And yet the creme de la creme, who weren't even farmers, were taken while farmers are staying here. That is the reality of the mockery that Elon Musk has been allowed to make of the Oval Office, and I still think that's disrespectful. So as usual, those of you that know nothing about what you're talking about, mind your business and let South Africans mind their South African business. Hashtag remember Kwezi. This has been Nuance with Nikki. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.